What's up, guys? Game Fiend of all games here, and looks like we're on Drama Scripted Mondays. I had something planned for you guys. It was going to be a dual commentary with myself and Blockbuster Tibbs, but due to technical difficulties, that kind of fell through. So I'm left with doing this. Let's start off with Raw. Raw was pretty mediocre this past week. Not much really stood out to me. The only big things that happened was the six-pack challenge match between everybody that's in the Raw Elimination Chamber, which was CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, The Miz, R-Truth, Dolph Ziggler, and Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho wind up winning that match, and what happens is now Jericho will be the last contestant to enter the Elimination Chamber. And how he won the match was CM Punk hit Dolph Ziggler with the go to sleep, and then Chris Jericho took CM Punk out and threw him across the table, and Chris Jericho got the 1, 2, 3. Other notes that stood out for me from Raw was the opening promo between Undertaker and Triple H. Triple H was in the ring talking about how he doesn't want to do it, how he doesn't want to take Undertaker to the limits, and a promo plays on the Titantron about how that's not the way Undertaker wants to be remembered as his last WrestleMania match. So he's kind of sort of pushing Triple H to get him in another match for him at this year's WrestleMania. Other notes that stood out to me on Raw. Oh, there's going to be an ambulance match for in the Elimination Chamber between John Cena and Kane. And pretty much this is the second ever ambulance match in WWE history. The first ambulance match was Kane versus Shane McMahon, and now the second ambulance match will be Kane versus John Cena. I guess this is Kane's specialty match because he is only in ambulance matches, thus as Undertaker is only in casket matches. It's funny how the Brothers of Destruction have their own specialty matches, if you guys haven't noticed that yet. Other things that stood out on Raw, that was pretty much it, besides the CM Punk and Chris Jericho promo that happened in the beginning of the second hour. Chris Jericho came out and talking about how he's sick and tired of wrestlers copying him, and he hit the nail on the head when he was talking about the Miz, like who came out week after week dressed in a suit and talked very solely like this. It was me. And it was kind of almost like a cheap shot at the Miz, because the Miz kind of does that now. The Miz is kind of, well, it seems to me the Miz is kind of copy and paste between The Rock and Chris Jericho, because he has ideal features from both. And then he starts talking about how he's sick and tired of wrestlers stealing his gimmicks. And then he actually admitted that he came back and basically trolled the whole WWE universe. And he's basically sick of people copying him. He's going to take back what is his as being the best at what he does. And then CM Punk comes out and counter trolls him. And he comes out and just takes the mic and doesn't say anything and just leaves. So basically CM Punk just showed up on Raw just to debut his new shirt and then left. And then had the match later on in the night. That's pretty much it for the Raw side of things. Moving on to TNA. TNA's second week in UK. Again, no Jeff Hardy because due to pending drug charges, Jeff Hardy's not allowed to leave the country. It was a special Star Wars edition, which was kind of corny because there was nothing Star Wars edition about this Impact. Besides the trailers of them showing the Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is in 3D. I guess that was the remake that we were hearing about for all these years. I wanted a remake of 4, 5, and 6, but I don't know if we're going to get that. But moving on to what this show is actually about, it's about wrestling. Impact was watchable. I enjoyed the AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels match, even though they had better matches in the past, both on they wrestled both on RNH and earlier TNA matches. They both had better matches, but I enjoyed that match. I much likely enjoyed the X Division triple threat match between Doug Williams, who returned from his injury, Alex Shelley, and Austin Aries. I enjoyed that match the most. That's my YouTube match of the week. YouTube, that Impact match, Austin Aries versus Doug Williams versus Alex Shelley, triple threat in Impact, non-X Division title match. Other things that stood out to me in Impact, well, besides the whole Hulk Hogan standing up for Garrett thing, Garrett Bischoff, as Hulk Hogan is Bischoff's trainer. And if you guys don't know, since the last name, yes, Garrett Bischoff is really Eric Bischoff's real son. This is not scripted. Yes, they are related. And the match for Against All Odds is going to be Gunner versus Eric Bischoff. And I didn't get a chance to watch Against All Odds yet. By the time this gets uploaded, it might be around noon time and on Monday. So by that morning, by the time I wake up, I'm probably gonna find somewhere where I could watch Against All Odds, and I may or may not do a video on that. It depends how good / bad it is. If it's really, really good, you're gonna get a video on it. If it's really, really bad, you're gonna get a video on it. If it's mediocre, you're just gonna get my feelings on next week's drama scripted series. And other TNA news, due to Jeff Hardy not being able to make it to the UK, the main event was the Icon, Sting, and James Storm versus Bubba Ray Dudley and Robert Roode. It was a pretty mediocre match, nothing spectacular about it. And that's anything else that happened in TNA that I can remember that stood out. Oddly enough, there was no Divas match. I find that was odd, seeing as the Divas Championship is on the line for Against All Odds. Yeah, that was very odd to me that there was none of that. But that's going to be it for the Impact Wrestling. Now we're going to move on to SmackDown. SmackDown was okay. For the wrestling side of things, I enjoyed mostly all the matches. I enjoyed the undercard feud of the year, which is Honcho versus Ted DiBiase. Those two had another spectacular match, with Ted DiBiase again wrestling with a broken hand, and he beat Honcho this week with a broken hand again. I'm really enjoying this undercard feud. It looks like it's getting overlooked, but I see it. I'm aware of it. I notice it. I enjoy it, and I appreciate it for what it is. Other matches on the card: Beth Phoenix squashes my favorite diva, Alicia Fox. But then after the match, Tamina runs out to the ring before Beth Phoenix hits Alicia Fox with the Grand Slam again, and it looks like they're actually doing something with the women's division. If it's not a squash match, Tamina versus Beth Phoenix should be a good match, because these are two females that can actually wrestle. So if WWE doesn't decide to make this a squash match, it should be an actual good match, and hopefully it's set. The match is set for Elimination Chamber. I'd greatly like to see that match. Two of the best divas that's in the company today that can actually wrestle, and Tamina has gotten better over the past year in the industry. So we'll see how that turns out to be. Other things that stood out to me on SmackDown, I'm really getting sick and tired of the stale Daniel Bryan heel thing, become vegan. It's basically a copy and paste of when CM Punk was preaching become straight edge. It's basically the same exact wording. It's basically I want you to become blank. As in 2.5 years ago, it was like CM Punk was like, you all should join me and become straight edge. And then Daniel Bryan says, oh, you all should join and become me and become vegan. Throughout the night, he tried 3 separate times to get out of his match with Randy Orton, and it didn't work. The first time he said, oh, Theodore Long, you held the barbecue, and it was like, you shouldn't eat meat, become vegan, and ruins your intestines. You guys, it makes me sick. I'm going to have to take a sick day. Theodore Long said no. The promo between AJ Lee and Michael Cole, Daniel Bryan comes out and saves AJ Lee because Michael Cole just took a shit on AJ's chest in that promo, which is kind of bad, because there's when a commentator outshines you in a promo, I feel that's horrible. But then again, it is Michael Cole. He's good at what he does, even though people hate him, but that's his job. He's getting people to hate him, so he's earning his paycheck. So Daniel Bryan comes out, saves AJ from the promo, and I think saves the promo overall. And there's, oh, AJ shouldn't be here. She's mentally, disturbed or whatever. Not all there. I need to go home. I need to take out. Theodore Long says, no, you leave this building, you get stripped. That's the 3rd time. I mean, that was the 2nd time. So then you get to the main event, which was Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. It was a good match overall. Mediocre, but then Daniel Bryan, Big Show was at the ring to do commentary, and throughout panic, knowing that Daniel Bryan can't win, he attacks Big Show and Big Show hits him back to get Randy Orton disqualified, so Daniel Bryan wins. And then Randy Orton goes outside the ring and pushes Big Show. Them two start to argue, and Daniel Bryan slowly walks away and gets out of harm's way with the World Heavyweight title and gets out of harm's way. Pretty much that was about it for SmackDown. Nothing really else stood out. I don't understand what the fart jokes are going on with Natalya. I don't know. I don't understand what that is about. That's really getting annoying. That's pretty much it for this week in wrestling. Not much stood out, and there's not really any unscripted news to go over either. That really. Oh, there is the ugly spill that R-Truth took, and this week's past taping. This week's Raw was the Miz Small. The R-Truth was supposed to jump out the ring, and the Miz was supposed to be there to catch him so he wouldn't fall on his head. And the Miz was nowhere to be found. Thus, that's why R-Truth took such a nasty spill, but he's okay, no concussions. And the Miz kind of got into some backstage heat for that. He kind of got in trouble for not being there because it was kind of his fault. And it was, yeah, that could have ended badly. Because could you imagine if R-Truth got a concussion a week and a half before Elimination Chamber and had to get replaced? That would have sucked for both people. Other non-scripted news. I'm reading rumors that Christian and Alberto Del Rio should be back anytime soon. Oddly enough, Alberto Del Rio was returned in a live SmackDown event two nights ago. He came back in a return promo, and he was challenged, and he challenged Sheamus. This was at a live event. So good news that his grind looks like is healed up all the way. He should be back soon. So that's good to hear. I'm still waiting on when Christian's gonna get back. I'm very, very anxious for Christian to come back. As you guys know, he's one of my favorite superstars of all time. But that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this week on Drama Scripted. Well, I guess you could call it Drama Scripted Monday. I'm Game Fiend, feeling more games here, and I'm out of here, guys. Later. Peace.